YouTube, what it is. Hang on a second. Let me get my positioning right. What it is, it's your boy Q Deezy. Double the easy. Another episode all about semis. A little discombobulated here, but we gonna be alright. Coming to you from the car. Still home, chilling. Had to do some little running arounds and whatnot, having some little errands and things like that. I figured while I was out, I had a few minutes. Go ahead and jump on this video as promised by viewer request. It's a topic too that never seems to get old, and I hear it. Look, see, that's what I deal with when I'm in the car trying to film. See, in my truck I got my holder. Car I don't got the phone holder, but nonetheless, moving right along. Topic never gets old, and not just from me. I see it also from a lot of owner operators and that have their own carriers and authority that question. And this specific question was it worth it for me to get my own authority leaving Landstar? So basically, that's what he said. You know, it might not have been in that order. It might have been something along the lines of, was getting your authority worth leaving Landstar, or was it worth it? However combination you want to put it, that's kind of pretty much how the question was. So to tackle that answer, I'm going to just start out by saying, you know, this is not just going to apply to Landstar just being leased on to anybody. You know, it's pretty much going to be the same guidelines for me. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm going to speak to for me and Landstar because the question was directed that way. Hope that makes sense. So just to start off, to answer that question, for me, getting my own authority and leaving Landstar, was it worth it? Yes, and yes. Wish I could have did it sooner, be honest with you. Now, looking back, I wish I would have just done it sooner. And actually, today is the 3rd year anniversary that I have been driving, actually. I've been in the business a lot longer, but I've actually this is my 3rd year driving. I think I'll post a picture of my certificate there when I got it, December the 21st, as a matter of fact. Nonetheless, moving right along, yeah, I wish I had done it sooner, because, you know, I came out and started, you know, driving as an owner-operator within 4 or 5 months of being out of school. So, and that's truck school. So yeah, and for me to say I wish I had just done it sooner, that should speak volumes. Now let's get into the whys. Speaking to the Landstar, you know, right off the bat, the obvious thing is the percentage. Okay, I was giving away 35%. And when I say giveaway, I don't mean that term loosely. I mean it in a sense of that was Landstar's cut, okay? Some can beg the difference of how high it was or how low it is, or, you know, but that's not really what this video is about. But their percentage was 35%, okay? And I felt like that percent that I was paying them during the time I was there for the things that I got was worth it, you know. And that's going to be to each its own. Is the percent you're paying worth you staying, you know, long term? Is it worth everything that you're getting? are you content or you're happy with that? I mean, Landstar took care of a lot of things, you know. I mean, I didn't have to worry about permits and, you know, IFTA and fuel tax and, you know, back in office stuff, you know, scores, and it's a lot of stuff that they took care of, not to mention, you know, the fuel discounts and the repair discounts on tires and things like that. So for some people, that 35% is worth that. Now, for me, I'm always thinking ahead and I'm always trying to grow. You know, that's just me. And for me, the way that I ran, you guys know if you've been watching my videos any length of time, that I'm usually an $8,000-9,000 a week guy. So we're going to say at the high end, at $9,000 a week total gross, right off the back, 35%. That's $3,100 and $3,150 that Landstar got right off of that $9,000, right? Now there's some other variables that play into that, okay? Accessorials and things like that. Other people that you may lease onto might not have that accessorial thing. They just have their percentages and whatnot. But again, for the sake of the question, speaking of Landstar, 35%. That's 3,100 and some change. Now, again, with the accessorials, people are going to say, well, you know, your accessorials are always going to change, so it's not going to be, you know, that. And see, Landstar is smart. I don't care about the accessorials at this point because they will change. But see, that 35%, it will never change. So the accessorials is really a manipulation of the numbers, you know. And if you got a escrow where you're getting the percentage taken out of your escrow, then part of that comes out of your line haul, and then you still have to pay your fuel and everything out of your actual net. I know that's a lot, and for guys that don't understand how Landstar work, you probably not even going to understand that, so I apologize. But for those Landstar guys, they know what I'm talking about. But again, the accessorials, you know, they'll get you caught up because you think, with kind of how it works for you guys that don't know is, if the load is, let's say, a $2,000 load, you call the agent to book the load. The agent say, man, I'll give you $1,000 off the top so it goes straight to your pocket, right? And then Landstar only gets their cut off of the 1,000. Okay, they take their 35% off of that, right? And then you still have to pay your fuel and everything out of your cut. I don't care how much they give you up front. And if anybody know anything about business, it's about how much you keep, not how much you gross, how much you keep. Okay, because that's going to determine how you work. So Landstar is smart. They don't care about none of that, because think about it. You think they would just be letting that go down if it was a big deal to them? They're going to get that 35%. And remember, the higher your load is, the higher your gross is. I don't care how much accessorials you get out of that line haul, their portion is still going to go up some kind of way, you know. Which brings me to my next, you know, point here is it worth it? Not having to give away none of the profit is great. Now, I thought at first, I said, you know, I'm going to lose my fuel discounts, so I may spend a little bit more money in fuel. But for me, the way that I ran, you talking about $2,000 a week on average that I was giving away. So that $2,000, I made an extra $2,000 or better a week. So, and that was on top of doubling my income already. And we'll get to that. So that's huge. You know, that $2,000 plus is huge. But what I found about the fuel part of it was, I was thinking about my fuel and I was like, well, I'm not getting that super great fuel discount. And what I'm realizing is that I don't even have to run. I'm not running as far to make the same amount of money. I'm not even working the truck as hard to make more money. So I found that my fuel, even though I'm paying sometimes higher for my fuel, I'm not buying as much fuel anymore during the week. So that discount had become redundant. Okay, hope you guys are still following me. Because again, when you're on this side, you don't have to run a particular way to make the numbers you need. If you've been doing this at any length of time, you know, okay, for me to make my, let's say, 5 grand, I know I need to hit 7, just for the sake of conversation, running under a company or a carrier. So I knew I needed to be in that high 6ish, 7ish, to see that, like, 4,500 or so, after everything. So for me now, I don't have to do that. So again, was it worth it for me? Absolutely. The other thing is, you'll find that the freedom, having your own carrier, surpasses any type of lease that you can get into. I mean, it's a whole different freedom. You don't have nobody to answer to, period. And again, speaking to Landstar, you could not park on the side of the highway. Okay, if you ran out of time or whatever the case was, you either had to get a violation to get to where you were going, or you planned it out right so you didn't have a violation. I never ran into that, and I've never ran out of PC time, because that's another thing. They only give you so much PC time, I think 2 hours, to get where you need to get, or get somewhere to park. And I've been in situations where that 2 hours almost just wasn't enough, but we'll speak to that, later. But with Landstar, you couldn't park on the side of the road, not that I wanted to anyway. I see guys do it all the time, but I don't want to do it anyway. But if I want to pull my truck into a parking lot, or on the side of the ramp and park it there, guess what? I can do that. Ain't nobody gonna call me, ain't nobody gonna snitch. They call it sit and duck at Landstar. Ain't nobody gonna call me talking about, yeah, we got a sit and duck over here, blase, 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 truck number, blase, 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 and then you're getting the phone call. The other thing is, you run out of PC time enough, they pull it. A lot of companies do that. They'll pull your PC time, and now you ain't got no PC time, and they put you on it's like a punishment. You know what I mean? You're in your truck, they put you on a punishment, and you lose it. I think at Landstar, your first offense is like 6 months that they pull your PC. I mean, are we 6 years old? But you are under those guidelines, and you have to comply with those guidelines that you're under. I don't miss that. Again, was it worth it for me? Yes. Primarily, the freedom was the number one reason for me, believe it or not. That was one of the number one reasons for me. You don't have to answer to anybody. Everything is under you and is on you. Same thing with the ELD. I have full control over my ELD. So, yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buttons. I'm not going to pull PC from myself. I don't put a limit on my PC for myself, Do I park on the side of the road still? No, I don't. I'm not into it. I don't do it. And that's just always been a habit anyway. So I never really had those issues at Landstar anyway, because I don't want to be parked on the side of the highway at night, man, and somebody just slamming into me. I mean, that's just common sense. Nonetheless, full control over everything. The other thing is, God forbid I get into an accident or a minor fender bender, I don't have to worry about somebody tell me they're going to drop me off of their lease, or I avoid my contract because I got into an accident, or I'm high risk and I'm out of a job, and now I'm trying to find a job because nobody don't want to touch me. You don't have that problem when you have your own authority. Your insurance might go up. It might definitely go up. but you ain't got to worry about going to sleep because you waking up and wondering if you're gonna have a job. That again is a part of the freedom of it. And is it worth it? For me, it was a total winner. Um, the other thing is, you know, expansion. I wanted to be able to expand in different venues and areas of different things as the seasons change. So, what I mean by that, if I want to do power only, flatbed, tanker, I can do any of those I want to do on any given time under my own carrier. All I have to do is buy the equipment or lease the equipment, um, which is a plus. And when I say expand, I can open up different divisions. Like one of the things I got going on now is um, Amazon, right? I actually, if you guys been following any of my last few videos, I have contract with them. Not only am I an approved carrier, but I have a contract with them where when they need yard jockeying, they'll rent my truck, and I'll do it for them. I give them 10-hour blocks, 7-hour blocks, whatever they need, and I set that price. On average, it's about $100 an hour. It's nothing less than that. And when you're leased on, you don't have those kind of options. So, which goes back into the control and the freedom and the expansion combined together. And, it's like they're not going to, when I say they, Amazon's not going to call a major carrier or a company like Landstar and say, hey, we're looking for a yard jockey. We want to, can you find us a truck? Because it has to be beneficial for them. So they got to get a cut out of it. And if they do find a driver that's going to get it, he's going to do it for an extremely less amount of money than I'm doing it for, you see. And at that point, it either becomes redundant or it's not worth it. And you're not going to park your truck for under $1,000 a day. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? Because on average, you should be making that a day. But when you're a carrier, you can do things like that, on the days you want to do it. And it's beneficial for them to contact a guy like me that can say, hey, I'm gonna dedicate this one truck. This is the rate, and it's 100% profitable for them. It's 100% profitable for me. It wouldn't be 100% profitable for a company like Landstar to get peanuts on the dollar off of $1,000 day, but for somebody that's local or home or got an extra truck at home, in my case, that's a big deal, because if I do that 6 days, that's $6,000, period, and zero fuel. I just did 3 days for them, and I haven't even fueled the truck up because I've been on the yard all day. I haven't even put nothing in it. I mean, literally zero fuel. So again, in situations like that, is it worth it? Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing is, like I said about the control and the expansion, you know, I can do a lot more things. Like I have, I'm working on my other transport side of the business where I'm not running the semis. I'm running, smaller trucks. I'm working on that right now, and that's just a matter of getting equipment, slapping the DOT number on it, and I'm, running those local for, local businesses, that just need local deliveries. It's just like a local transportation company, easy to expand, easy to generate extra revenue on other um, avenues. So for me, again, 100% worth it, and it does not hurt that you get 100% of your profit. Eliminating somebody taking a percentage out of your money. So that goes without saying. You are not splitting your money with anybody. If you make $5,000, you make $5,000, period. Minus your fuel and your expenses. Then the other thing is the ability again to work, to run less miles for more. you know as I was saying in the top of the conversation, I knew I had to run a certain way, and that's going to be with anybody. You're already going to know how you need to run to make the net profit that you need to make. Having my own authority now, I don't have to run the way that I was running. And I wasn't running hard. I was going where I wanted to go and running how I wanted to run. But again, I still had to run a certain amount of loads to get the revenue that I needed to have the right net income, not gross, net income. So now the ability to, I can run next to nowhere and get $5,000. You see, that's cut and dry. So is it worth it? Yes. For me, it was definitely worth leaving Landstar to get my own authority. Um, Revenue wise, like I said in the top of the conversation, I've doubled my income just by cutting that 35% out. Now the loads and the relationships that I'm able to get has boosted that, as well. So again, for me, there's a lot of people out there that want to be on this side but don't have the mentality for it. And I'm not throwing shots at anybody. I'm just saying, like, some people, they say, man, deal with all that the do permits and do this and do that. It's not. It just ain't worth it to me. I'd rather somebody else do it, and that's a lot of guys. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you have to know your comfort level. Everybody's all that is going to be different. And what I mean by the all that, when people say, well, you got to do all whatever that is going to be different for people. Like for me, doing the permits, doing my IFTA, I mean, you don't do permits every month. You don't do, you don't do IFTA every month. It's every 4 months you got to do your fuel tax. I mean, it's no big deal. You do it 4 months, you ain't got to worry about it. The benefits outweigh the labor, but some people are not savvy enough to do that, and they're not savvy enough to hire somebody they can trust to do that. So they're for them it becomes a big overwhelming thing. And then maintaining a back office and logs and maintenance reports, which again, that was something else I left out that I don't have to worry about. With Landstar, I had to get my truck inspected every 190, and it was like, you only really have to get your truck inspected once a year, and then you go there and they always got to find something that they want to put you on or make you pay for, and then if they tell Landstar about it, Landstar's gonna make you get it done or put you out of service until they get it done, and it might not even be nothing serious. It's just a headache. Now I don't have to worry about that. Get my truck inspected once a month. I mean, once a year. My trailer once a year, and when I do my PMs, I go over my truck. Simple. You should be doing your PMs anyway, throughout the year. But that's a whole nother conversation. But a lot of people, they don't want to deal with nothing. Some people just want to get in a truck, let somebody else deal with everything, and they'll give away actually more than what they need to give away to not have to worry about anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's totally nothing wrong with that. Get it how you get it. Again, I was speaking to what was given to me and what was asked of me. I'm not throwing shots at anybody or any way. I'm not taking anything from Landstar, because as you guys know, I love Landstar and they were a great company for me, and they helped me get to this point, and I still work for them. I still pull loads for Landstar. So I'm not by any means, saying that it's bad, company or doing things the way that you do them is wrong, because in this business there's so many ways to do what you do. With that out the way, that really sums this up. It is definitely, for me, it was worth it. But again, it's not for everybody, and some people again want to do it. They want to get out on their own, just like you got guys that want to be owner operators, but they just want to lease on to somebody. They just want to own their truck and lease on to somebody. But what you'll find is that you're going to go through a lot of companies sometimes to find that right home, because everybody, I don't care who they are, got their stuff with them. They got something that you're not going to like, or you're going to go through something. Some guys don't really know how to book freight. They don't know how to negotiate rates. They don't know how to, talk to agents, and they don't want to deal with it. And when they do try, they have so many problems, and it just puts a bad taste in their mouth. And it's like, oh, this is bull crap. This ain't worth it. Trucking is this, trucking is that. And then it just goes downhill from there. That's why I say it's not for everybody to be an authority owner or a carrier owner, or in some cases it's not even good for some people to be owner operators, because they're better off being company drivers. And that's just the reality of it. Every job is not for everybody, but you have to know where you fit in. And that's really going to be the whole gist of you being successful. When you're on this side that I'm on, everything is on you. If you have a breakdown and you're under a load, it's on you. I've been there, dealt with it. If you look through the videos, you'll see. And some of you guys know what I went through with that, and you have to have your finances in order to be able to deal with this kind of stuff. If you got to pay to get a load repowered or whatever the case may be, you have to be in a different position. And a lot of guys, the fear of that just pushes them away, and it might not happen for your first several years, depending on your equipment. It might, you don't know. And that's the thing about it. Luckily for me, I had been running, and that was my first breakdown. All the time I've been with Landstar, several years by that time, never had an issue, never with the truck breaking down under a load. So go figure. As soon as I go out on my own, that happened, but I was ready and prepared for it, and I made it work. A lot of guys don't want to deal with that. It's a big responsibility because your name is on the line at that point. Your customer don't care about what happens. They're just trying to get their freight, and that's all they care about. And how quickly can you recover from it is going to put a big, thing on your back. And that's another thing, all your information everybody can see. You got scores now, and they can punch an MC number in. The brokers, they look to see about you and who you are, and how long you've been in business and what you've overcame. And a lot of times they base that off of if they want to deal with you or not. And when you first start, sometimes you have a hard time trying to find people that'll even deal with you, because you got that break-in period that they want to see that, okay, this guy might be around for a while, or this company might be around for a while. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to get too far off the topic of the operations of it. I just wanted to answer the question that the viewer asked. Was it worth it leaving Landstar? So for me, it was absolutely. I don't think I'd ever be able to go back to being a lease driver or company driver for anybody. I just don't think I'll be able to do it, at this point in my career. So other than that, guys, I hope that this information was helpful. It's going to be one of the longer videos, but people that are really interested in this information will take the time to watch this whole video to the end. And I appreciate you guys always. And again, I hope that this helps somebody. Merry 21 Christmas. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get back to it. I actually got some late shopping to go do, so I'm going to make it happen. It's your boy QDZ, Double Easy. Another episode all about semis. How about it, drivers?